Yo, it's official. Like a referee with a whistle. So like and share this episode. So I'm back. I'm back on my computer doing things like I usually do out in this piece. So today, man, I'm gonna talk about long distance relationships. This is something that a lot of people have a lot of questions about. And I'm gonna tell you what I think, and I'm also gonna tell you my experience. And pros and cons and you know of talking to somebody in another state, city, and even country. And P.S. by the way, check out my book, Love at First Click, on Amazon.com. The link will be on the show notes. And see, that's what my book, Love at First Click, was all about. It's really all about meeting women online without getting scammed. Because unfortunately, we don't live in a perfect world where everything is perfect and you're set up to automatically win. No, we don't live in a world like that. And anyone that acts like everything's supposed to be a certain type of way, you should don't walk, run from that person, because that doesn't exist. There's no perfect way of doing anything in today's time. I've never seen anything that you can set it and forget it and never have to look back at it. I've never seen it. But I always say that if you're going to meet anyone in another country, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But I say that you should focus on the people in your local area as well. You know what I'm saying? It's not wrong with meeting someone long distance. But here's the thing about meeting someone long distance, like in another country. You really don't know what the hell this other person is doing over there. You really don't know. Yeah, you can talk to them all the time or do FaceTime and all that stuff. And all that stuff is cool. But the problem with it, most people are going to put their best foot forward in most cases. Most people are going to put their best foot forward. And you don't really know what the hell they're doing. And when they hang up the phone with you, you don't know what the hell they got going on. You don't know. She might be an escort. She might be a straight up hoe. You don't know. You don't know what type of woman she is. You don't know what type of man she is. She might be a scam artist. You know what I'm saying? She might be scheming and scamming and might be asking dudes for money online when she ain't talking to you. She might have a Rolodex of dudes that she talked to. You don't know. She might have one side. She'll talk when she talk to you. She's nice, but when she talk to the other guys, she's like she's like a maniac. You don't know. You really don't know. Now, some people was like, well, you 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 can get to know the person and establish a relationship over the phone and establish boundaries. Yeah, you can do that. And then eventually you meet. Yeah, you can meet, you can do that. But when you meet up with somebody, that's kind of like a vacation for the both of y'all, really. Especially for her. If she's coming to see you or she's going to a place she's never been before, that's like a vacation, even if it's for a weekend. And again, most people, they will put their best foot forward. They're gonna bring their best clothes that they got, best outfits they got, best bikini they got. If y'all going to a place with a beach front, she's gonna bring her best clothes, best shoes. You know, she's gonna get her hair done, makeup, everything gonna be like she's going on a vacation. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying anything's wrong with looking good and bringing your best clothes and your best shoes. Nothing wrong with that. But you're not gonna you're not gonna see the whole person if you're meeting up on a weekend. You know, let's say even if it's 2 or 3 years, let's say you known her for 3 years. You see her once a year for those 3 years. You're still not going to know everything you need to know in those 3 years. Because every time y'all meet up, it's another vacation. She's going to bring her best clothes, best outfit, best shoes. She's going to get her hair done before she leaves to get on the plane. You know? And it's another side of her you're not going to see until y'all like stay under the same roof. That's how it's gonna go. Y'all really have to be under the same roof to really get to know each other. Like 24/7. That way you see all facets and all sides of her, who she is as a woman. That's the only way. You know, because see, if you're around her 24/7, you see the good, the bad, and the ugly. You see all her outfits, all her clothes that she wear on a weekly basis or every month at least. You see all her shoes that she wears. And when she come to see you, she put the best shoes in the bag, or her favorite shoes in the bag. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is. You know, you're not gonna see. She might have her 2, 3 dresses and best jeans she put on, but you're not gonna see the rest of the jeans that's ripped up, stained up, wore out. You know what I'm saying? She put in the best panties and bras and all that shit in the suitcase, but you ain't gonna see the panties that she had probably 10, 15 years and wore out. They got holes in the motherfucker. I mean, you ain't gonna see them because everything she's putting in her suitcase is brand new. You know what I'm saying? Because most people putting their best foot forward. That's how that is. You know what I'm saying? So you ain't gonna be able to see everything. Even in 2, 3 years, you still ain't gonna be able to see everything. Because y'all don't live near each other. Y'all live in another country. Probably 1,000, 2,000, 4,000, 5,000 miles away. Y'all see each other once a year. That's why I always say it's okay to meet people long distance, but focus on the people that's near you, in your town, in your city. the next state over. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't but so far that I'm gonna go when it comes to meeting people. I ain't gonna go but so far. I mean, if you stay like anything over, I would say anything over 2,000 miles, that's too much. Yeah, that's too much. Anything where I have to get on a plane and fly, take me 2 days to get there. No, that's too much. Nah, that's too much. You know what I'm saying? It's just I mean, I'll give you an example. Let's say I had to go to Dubai. Man, that shit would wear me out, man. It'd take you like what? The whole day to get to Dubai. That shit would wear me out. If I had to go to Thailand, that shit would wear me out, man. You know what I'm saying? I'd be tired as hell. You know, now there's some people that are adventurous. They like taking trips and long trips. You know, they actually get off on that. That's not me. You know what I'm saying? So a woman might be like, yeah, I'll come visit you in America or wherever you at. To them, that's like a damn adventure, like a journey. You know, it's a vacation too. But to them, that doesn't wear them out. They won't be tired. They'll be even more motivated because they're going someplace that they probably haven't been before, and then they're going to some place that they like the guy. You know what I'm saying? They like him, over the phone. They never seen him before, but in her mind, she likes what the guy had to say over the telephone. She liked how it looked. She's attracted to the guy based on the pictures and based on her talking to the guy on FaceTime for all these months, all these years. You know what I'm saying? So in her mind, after about, I say at least a year or two, sometimes less than that, most of the women that are willing to travel to see a guy, more than likely, she's probably willing to, take things to the next level if she's willing to travel across the world to meet a guy. In most cases, because you got to look at it like this: traveling long distance like that takes courage, especially for a woman to do it. Because anything could happen to a woman, like traveling across the world like that to some place that she ain't never been before. So if a woman makes up her mind and says, hey, I'm flying 10, 18 hours to meet this man, you best believe she's pretty much made up her mind that she's serious about that guy. She ain't doing this shit for fun. She's serious. And she's open to whatever happens. You know what I'm saying? She ain't flying all the way across the world to be closed-minded to see you. She ain't playing no games. You know what I'm saying? That's, otherwise she wouldn't even take the trip. Even if you paid for the whole thing, she still wouldn't take the trip if she wasn't really serious and didn't see you in that light. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about it like that, because most of the time, a lot of these women, they really ain't got money like that to travel that distance. A lot of them don't. And some do, but I'm going to say most of them I met don't. They ain't really got it like that. So if y'all plan to meet up in 6 months, it's going to probably take her another 6 months to plan to meet you. You know what I'm saying? She got to save up. She got to make arrangements. She might have kids or she might have responsibilities with her family. So she most women I met can't just get on the plane next week and fly across the world to see a man. Most women ain't got it like that. I'm gonna say most people ain't got it like that. They ain't got it like that. The women that I met, and I know women all around the world. Most of them don't have it like that. They have to make plans. That has to be something that has to be planned in advance. So whenever a woman make plans in advance, you best believe she's serious. This ain't a game for her. I think a lot of women look at it like, shit, I'm flying across the world to meet this guy. So I ain't really, and then they got to take off from their job. That's another thing. They got to take off from their job. And most of these women probably never take off from their job unless they go on a vacation. You know what I'm saying? And another thing you have to realize, most of the women that's in these other countries, they won't even entertain a long distance relationship because they know that he ain't gonna go nowhere. Because a lot of times they know that they can't get a visa for whatever reason. Sometimes it has to do with their background. Sometimes they don't want to pay the money. So, because sometimes they got to do lab work or they got to pay for the visa. Some women be like, man, the hell with all that shit. So now she was like, I got to do lab work. I got to pay for a visa. I got to have a passport. And then I got to get the flight. Some women be like, man, hell, that shit ain't worth it. You know what I'm saying? And some just don't want to pay the money. That's it. That's too much money. I ain't got it. You know what I'm saying? Some women feel like that. Even if you say, hey, I help you, some of them be like, nah, that's too much. So they won't even entertain the shit. You know what I'm saying? So what they'll do, they might hear you out in the beginning if you contact her online on one of the dating apps. But over time, once you get to a certain point and you feel like, okay, maybe I want to meet up with this chick, and y'all start talking about meeting up in person, she'll just cut you off. She'll just stop communicating with you after a while. Because she know that she's not gonna be able to pull it off. She probably not gonna be able to take off from her job, and she probably not gonna be able to come up with the money. And a lot of times she probably feel like she's not gonna be able to might not be able to pass the physical, and might not be able to get a visa. Yeah, that's what it really comes down. That's why a lot of times a lot of women they'll say, hey, why don't you come over here where I'm at? I'm like, what? No, not the first time. No, the first time we meet, we got to be on mutual ground. We got to go somewhere where it's like, somewhere that probably is like a vacation spot or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But you got to be careful too. I mean, if you go all the way to where she's at, shit, that might be a setup. There's a lot of scammers out here. You got to be careful. And if you don't believe you can be set up, shit, this shit happens all the time. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be careful. I know a guy that shit happened to. He was talking to this girl for like 8 months, and he decided to go see her, and shit, the whole damn thing was a setup from the start. You know what I'm saying? You got to be careful. A lot of scam out here, you know. And that's another thing that you might not know. Most of these people from these other countries, they believe in scheming and scamming. I mean, they come from a culture of lying. Damn near everything is a lie or a come up in some way, shape, or form. You know, I remember, man, I met this broad that was from Nigeria, and she told me she was in the military, right? So, you know, if somebody tell you in the military, you don't really question it, at least not over here, right? I mean, if you tell someone tell you in the military, you'd be like, oh, okay, what you ask them what branch? They'll tell you Army, Navy, Air Force, you know, whatever, right? So you'd be like, all right, cool. How long you been in there? They'll say, well, 4 years, 10 years, or whatever, right? So we don't really look nobody up. We don't really question it at all. Because we look at it like, we get them benefit of the doubt. Because why would somebody lie about some shit like that? Right? Man, that broad. Now, I believed her because I seen pictures of her in uniform. You know what I'm saying? But this is Nigeria now. So I don't know. You know, I don't know how they do things. I don't know how they do things in these other countries. But come to find out, man, that broad wasn't in no military. Not at the time. Now, maybe she used to be in the military, but not at that moment. And it took me a while to kind of figure this out because she was selling skin bleaching cream online. And she was online all the time during the daytime. So I'm like, how the hell are you online all the time and you're in the military during the day? So I'm like, how do you, this is this damn shit again. Now I see her in the uniform and everything, right? But she wasn't in the military no more. And come to find, let me tell you how she kind of she's kind of sabotaged the communication between us, because what happened is she asked me for some money one day, and I'm like, how the hell you asking me for some money if you're in the military? I'm not saying they make a lot of money in the military, but I mean, come on, man. You know, shit. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, she went on this rant saying that I'm moving to Brazil, the economy is too unstable over here in Nigeria, and she was talking mad shit about Nigeria, her country. You know what I'm saying? I'm moving to Nigeria. I'm moving to Brazil, whatever. So basically, she was gonna meet some guy. She was gonna fly. Well, she wasn't actually going to Brazil. She was going to Aruba. I think that's the name of the island. She's going to Aruba to meet the guy. And in her mind, this is what she was saying now. In her mind, when she meets the guy in Aruba, they're gonna click, and somehow I guess she feels like he's gonna want to marry me or whatever. I'm like, hold up. How do you figure that he's gonna want to marry you after he meets you? He might just want to smash. How do you really know? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And she was like, well, I think so. We got a good thing going or whatever. I said, you ain't never seen the dude before. He's just like me, basically. I ain't never seen you before either. But we talk from time to time over the telephone. You know what I'm saying? But in her mind was already made up, basically. You know what I'm saying? So she met up with the guy. Well, first off, after we had this conversation about her meeting up with the other guy, she cut me off. She didn't talk to me no more. That because I told her I couldn't give her no money, so she cut me off. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she cut me off after that. We didn't talk no more. You know, she'll respond, but it'll be short, like yeah, no. You know what I'm saying? You know, it'll be that type of shit. I'll be like, hey, good morning, how you doing? Good. Everything is short. So I just kind of left it alone after that. You know what I'm saying? Because she claims she got some other guy. Now, she went to see the guy in Aruba, right? I don't know what happened, but whatever she thought was supposed to happen, it didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? Didn't happen. Yeah. So I think dude went over there, hit it real good for a weekend, and sent her ass back to Nigeria, and he went back home. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because I don't really think she wasn't really thinking straight. She wasn't in the right mindset. In her mind, she wanted to meet some white man and wanted to hook him, trick him, and somehow get married to him. You know, but the white guy, he probably just wanted to hit it. He probably had some little fetish going on or some shit like that or whatever. But this is how she was thinking. You know, that's why she cut me off and kind of got a little salty because her whole demeanor kind of changed once she figured that she was going on vacation and everything, because she even put the lab work online. She put the lab work because she had to select a date to go to take the lab work. She did the fill out the application, and they sent her a date and time for her to go to an appointment. She put it out online. She actually put it out on the WhatsApp. I thought that was kind of funny. She put it out on the WhatsApp with the day and time that she had to report to take the physical. And then she passed, but I didn't see she didn't put the ticket out there, you know. But I knew that once she started getting a little salty or whatever. So I was okay, this is the real person. And I'm kind of glad she showed me who she really was. You know what I'm saying? It's better sooner than later for me to find out. You know what I'm saying? And this is the problem with long distance relationship. You're not going to see all sides of who the person is. You know what I'm saying? If it was up to me, what I would do is I would establish things up front. You know what I'm saying? If I'm interested in getting to know her like that, and I'm not going to say, hey, it's just me and you. It can't be, you can't be fucking with nobody else. Well, I'm not going to even say no shit. I'm not going to even say no shit like that to her. When I talk to her, I talk to her. But I'm not going to tell her, hey, you shouldn't be fucking with nobody else when you're not talking to me. I wouldn't even say no shit like that, because I know most women ain't going to be able to live up to that shit. Because when I hang out the phone with her, like I said, you don't know what the hell that woman got going on over there. She might be a damn escort. You don't know. You don't know what type of job she got. You don't know what she do for a living. You don't know her friends. You don't know her family. You don't know anything. You don't know. That's just reality, and people put their best foot forward, just like I said. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to really know who she is until you around her the majority of the time under the same roof. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're around her 2-3 months out of the year, something like that, or better. That's when you get a good feel of what type of person she is. You see her on a day-to-day basis. You know what I'm saying? You see how she dress. She ain't just taking the best outfit she got when she go on vacation to see you. You know, or her best shoes when she go on vacation to see you. You see all her shoes, damn near all her dresses, all her clothes. You see, does she dress? Does she actually dress good, or just some shit just to see me? You know what I'm saying? Because you have some women, well, they might not cook, for example, all the time, but she'll make the exception for you. But if y'all was living together, this bitch probably would eat out all the time. But you ain't gonna know that for sure because you see her once a year. Y'all meet up once a year and it's like a vacation. You know what I'm saying? And she lied about some shit because most of these other groups of people, if they would rather lie than look bad, and everything, you know, that's just how it is. They'd rather lie than look bad, and these other places, they're scam countries, basically. Now you might say, well, everybody ain't lying. That's true. Everybody ain't lying. But in these other places, lying is not looked down upon like it is where I'm from. Where I grew up, if you lie all the time, we don't even want you around. People don't even want you around if you lie all the time. Right? In other countries, other cultures of people, lying, if you ain't lying, they look at you like you stupid, you an idiot. What you being open and what you being honest with him for? I mean, if they look at it like if you're not manipulating or taking advantage of the person, regardless of their character, some people would take that as you being weak. You know what I'm saying? So you just have to understand the mentality of the person that you're dealing with. This is now she might not be like that, but that's where she came from. That's where she came from. My grandmother used to say, you can't play in the pool without getting some water on you. Or you can't play in the mud without getting some mud on you. Either or. And that's true. If you really think about it, that, you know, that analogy it is true. You know what I'm saying? But this is why I always tell people, hey, just date local in your local area, town, city. Even if you have to go a state over or 2 towns over, that's okay. Or an hour or 2 away driving distance, that's okay too. You know what I'm saying? That's okay. That's not, but when you have to go to another country, that's a whole different ball game. You know, that's a whole different ball game. But an hour or 2 away, that ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? That ain't nothing, man. You know, it's like it's a complete different ball game once you got to get on a plane and fly to another country. You got to get a passport. You got to get a visa sometimes. The other person, even you, depending on the country, you might have to get some lab work done. That's a whole different thing. You know what I'm saying? But that's what my book, Love at First Click, is all about. I was given the rules and the law of the land of what to watch out for, how to meet people, how to set your profile up, how to not get scammed, all that stuff. My book is over 500 pages. That's right. Over 500 pages. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the stuff that I talk about, I never heard nobody talk about. And you got to realize I've been doing this for 20 years. I've been meeting people online. I got my first account online it was 2003. 2003. And I remembered because I got my first computer, the same year. I got my computer the same year. I started taking classes the same year. And I went on Plenty of Fish the same year. That's how I remember. You know what I'm saying? I remember that shit like yesterday, man. I remember I went on Plenty of Fish, and then it was Black Planet. Mm-hmm. Plenty of Fish and Black Planet was the shit back in the day. That's it. There wasn't a lot of places to meet people online back in the day. And then MySpace was big back in the day. Now MySpace was for social, meeting people, and music and business. MySpace back in the day was like I guess today MySpace would be, if I had to compare it to a site today, I would say it would be like Facebook today. If I had to do a comparison. Because Facebook, if you look at Facebook, there's a little bit of everything on there. It's not just for one thing. And that's how MySpace was. Yeah. People would be on MySpace for different reasons. It wasn't just for meeting people. Could be for business, could be professional, could be personal life, could be anything at the time. I remember the first person I met, I think she lived like 40 minutes away from where I was staying at the time. She lived 40 minutes away from me. And I actually drove halfway. I drove halfway to see her at the time. Which was okay, where I lived at was in South Carolina at the time. So I think I might have drove from where I was at to, I think it was King Street, South Carolina at the time. I drove up there to see her, and she lived in I think she lived in Columbia at the time. And I was nervous the first time I met somebody. And it was a good meetup though. It was a good meetup. And first time we met up, tell you what we met at. We met at Hardee's. We met at Hardee's, downtown King Street at the time. We met at Hardee's. And it wasn't too many places to meet up in King Street at the time. that was easy to find. Anyway, but we met at Hardee's, and we probably stayed there for like 2 hours, and she had to go because she had a babysitter. She had a baby too. That's another thing. She had a baby too, and we known each other for like, we still know each other still to this day. I don't talk to her like that. She actually on Facebook. She's on Facebook. Yeah. I see her on Facebook every once in a while. She ended up getting married. What happened is I ended up moving to North Carolina probably like a year. And probably like a year later. And she had this guy, and she was talking to this guy that was in the military, and he was, I think, overseas where this. She told me this like later. The guy was overseas, and said at some point she was gonna have to move. So I was like, oh, okay, I get that. You know what I'm saying? So we were smashing until I moved to North Carolina, basically. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't. Now check this out. I didn't smash. We didn't smash the first time. No, I didn't. No, we smashed the second time, because the second time, now there's another thing I didn't know about her. She was staying with her mom at the time, and well, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. She didn't tell me that until I was on the way driving, and I didn't like that shit. I was like, oh shit. So I said, well, when your mom come? And she didn't tell me that until she didn't tell me that she was staying with her mom until I was on the way. And then when I got there, she said that her mom was at work. I'm like, oh shit. So I'm like, well, when she come back, get home? He's like, oh, usually like 6 o'clock, but sometimes she will show up early. I was like, oh shit. So you mean? So I said, hey, if she show up early, what the hell? How the hell I'm gonna get up out of here? So I'm paranoid. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh God, what I got myself into. And this was nighttime too. That's another thing. This was nighttime. And I always would go to her house at nighttime for the most part. It's been a couple of times I went there during the day, but for the most part, I would go there at night. I'm talking late at night. I'm talking about midnight, like 1, 2 in the morning, some shit like that. What would happen most of the time, I would go to the club, and this is the time where I used to go out a lot. I used to go out a lot at the time. So I would go to a club like in Myrtle Beach, Florence, areas like that. And when the club was over, I would leave and go to her house. And this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? And her mom was there. Her mom was asleep. And and her, come to find out, this is after the fact. She told her mom about me. I don't know why, She told her mom about me, and for whatever reason, her mom didn't have a problem with me. And another thing that happened too, I told her who my mom was and my dad was, and her mom knew my mom. I'm like, holy shit, this is a small world, man. Her mom knew my mom. I didn't know this shit. I was like, holy shit, it's a small world, man. So once her mom knew my mom, once she found that out, she didn't care if I came over there. She didn't care what time of the night I came over. Daytime, nighttime, it didn't even matter. You know what I'm saying? This shit was crazy, man. She didn't care. Her mom didn't care. You know, as a matter of fact, I went there like late and probably like 2 or 3 in the morning. And you know, when I would call her and say, hey, I'm on the way. And she was like, okay, I'm gonna stay up. I have to stay up until you get here because my mom was asleep. But this one particular time, she fell, and her mom actually opened the door for me. Holy shit. I was so embarrassed at the time. You know what I'm saying? I like the shit that I've been getting myself into. Now, at this time, this is 3, 4 in the morning at the time. I was so embarrassed. You know, this lady got out of her bed to wake me up because her daughter fell asleep. So when she came in, she was like, oh, she right there laying down. I'm like, hey, girl. She said, oh, my God, I fell asleep. You know what I'm saying? She said, well, my mom must have let you in. I said, yeah. Yes, yeah. So I just sat down. I was so embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? But boy, I tell you what, we had some good times, man. We had some good times. But I ended up moving, like I said, I ended up moving to North Carolina. And she was the first person I met. And when I moved to North Carolina, she ended up getting with her dude that was in the military. And they got married, and they still married still to this day. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that was man, that was some wild times, man. but that shit was fun though. That shit was fun. And this thing is supposed to be fun. It shouldn't feel like work. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't feel like work. People make it feel like people make shit complicated. You know, like everything's supposed to be difficult and you're supposed to be struggling, you know. No, this is supposed to be fun. You know, it's not supposed to feel like work. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, everybody got, I think a lot of people trying to make things too complicated. You know, it's supposed to be fun, man. Everything when it comes to being online, man. Damn near every situation I've been in. I had one. I didn't really call it a bad situation. She was just in a bad mood because she got a phone call or whatever, and I just left. You know what I'm saying? But I never had a bad meetup from online. I never really had a bad situation like that. Somebody asked me the other day, have you ever met a bad one? You ever met up with somebody ever catfish you? You met up with some bitch that weighed 300 pounds? No. 400 pounds, some shit like that? No. I ain't never happened to me before. No. Yeah, I never really had a situation like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to put the link in here, man. Anyone want to come up, we can chop it up. Otherwise, I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I never had a bad situation. No one. Well, you know, the thing is, I know when something ain't right. I know when somebody ain't keeping it real. You know what I'm saying? So no one could trick me like that. You know? No, I don't think anyone's that good, in my opinion. You know? Yeah. So I don't think that could ever happen to me. I'm too aware of what might happen. You know, I filter, I vet very well. So if someone ain't who they claim to be, I would know probably the first day chatting with them. Because I'll be like, hey, I'll usually say something that kind of throw them off. And they'll be like, they'll stop talking. They'll stop sending messages. You know what I'm saying? That's how I do. To get rid of, you got to get rid of the fakes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but you know, that's usually how I go, man. The game is cold out here. But yeah, those were some good times back then, man. Had some good times. You know, I had some good times, man. It was but here's the thing. The game has changed online today. You gotta realize back in the day there wasn't no scheming and scamming. Nobody was doing that shit. Nobody was getting robbed. Nobody was doing that shit. You know why? Because there were no foreigners online back then. There were no foreign. I never seen nobody from no other country on any of the dating sites 20 years ago. There were no foreigners. It was all Americans online. A lot of people being online 20 years ago was taboo. If you were online, people automatically thought that you were a scammer. It wasn't true because I wasn't no scammer. The scheming and the scamming started like 10 years ago. Well, you got couples running scams. You got women running the scams. And damn near every country around the world. That started like 10 years ago. You got couples running international scams. Yeah, wasn't none of that shit, man. When I first got started, that shit didn't exist. But today, shit, you got couples running international scams around from worldwide. They setting damn celebrity. Well, celebrities getting set up. Now I don't know why a celebrity would even go online to take a chance to even go in the DMs and go online. I don't know why a celebrity would do anything like that. But apparently a lot of them do. And they get set up. And the girls usually set them up. They'll invite them over to the hotel room or somewhere and set up a damn camera and record their ass and take pictures of their ass while they sleep. And then when he leaves, he don't know that he's been recorded. Well, it could be a he or she. They don't know that they were recorded. And now they threaten them, hey, if you don't give me no money, if you don't give me what, $200,000 or $1 million, some shit like that, I'm gonna put this damn video out, and your wife and all your friends and business partners gonna see it. It'd be that type of shit, you know. But why would an entertainer fall for that? I don't know. You know, you gotta be some kind of game goofy to fall for that shit. I wouldn't even fall for that shit. I wouldn't go to nobody's house that I don't even know. Hell no. We can go somewhere else, hotel room or no. But I'm going to your house in today's climate? Shit. Not today's climate. Now, back in the day, yeah, shit was different. Of course, I went to people's house the first day because you didn't have to worry about none of this shit. Nobody was scamming. It's just a different vibe, total different vibe, different environment back then. So you didn't have to worry about, the way I see it, meeting people online back then was kind of like a secret society. It was kind of like a secret society back then. The reason why I say that because nobody was talking about it number one. And even if you told anybody about it, most people would lie and say, if you say, hey, if somebody saw you with a guy or gal, and you said, hey, somebody would ask you, hey, how'd y'all meet? Most of the time, you would say the first place y'all met in public. You wouldn't say, hey, we met off Plenty of Fish. Nobody was saying that because they would feel embarrassed. That's why I said it was a secret. It was like a secret society back in the day when it came to meet people. You know what I mean? But today, if you tell someone you got a girl in Brazil and you met her on Match.com or Bumble, they'll be like, oh, cool, let me see some pictures. You know what I'm saying? That's believable today. But 20 years ago, they'll call you a liar. The same person. It's just a different ball game today. You know what I'm saying? The game has changed today. The possibilities are endless today. You know, you can beat anybody any way you want today. But the game is you have to be able to vet and see if people are being genuine. A lot of people aren't genuine. A lot of people are online trying to come up, trying to scam, just trying to get what they can get and move on to the next person. They don't have a desire to meet people. I always say most guys never ask to meet the woman, and most women don't have a desire to meet men. I'm going to say that one more time. Most guys never ask to meet the woman, and most women don't have a desire to meet the man. They don't. This is the truth. You'd be surprised if you were to ask, if you're a woman, ask your friends that are online how many guys they've met. It'd be crickets. It'd be crickets. And if you're a guy and you have friends that are online, ask your buddies how many girls they met. Or how many, it's going to be crickets. It's going to be crickets. It ain't going to be, it might be one if you're lucky. You know, but most of the time, it ain't going to really be nobody. Yeah, it ain't going to be like you think. Yeah, the pickings is slim when it comes to meeting in person. The pickings is slim, man. Ain't too many people meeting people like that. There's a bunch of chatting going on, bunch of messages being sent, but ain't too many people meeting in person. You know, ain't too many. You know, and even when people do decide to meet, from what I've been hearing, it's usually a bad experience. Usually a bad experience. You know, I've never had a bad experience. You know, the one experience that I did have, it wasn't good, but wasn't bad either. Like I said, she just kind of, she got a phone call and kind of flipped out. I mean, they ain't had nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? But I just left. You know? Yeah, they ain't had nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's about it. Other than that, I have all my experiences have been good. Now, have I hit it off with everybody? No, I haven't hit it off with everybody. I'd say a good, if I was to do a percentage, I would say 60% of the time. I'd say 70. 70% of the time, I hit it off with most people. Now, out of that 70%, how long does it last? We talk, we meet again. I would say out of the 70%, there's usually a second date or second meetup. You know, and then after the second meetup, third, fourth, I would say out of that 70%, it's probably half of those people last long term. Yeah. That's those are my numbers. So out of that 70%, half of those people stick around for the long term. Yeah, only half. Yeah, it's only like today I got like probably 1, 2, 3. It's a handful of people that's left. That I met like 10, 15 years ago. Yeah. But most people are gone. That's how it is. And I'm talking, I met a lot of people. I mean, at this point, I've met thousands of people online at this point. So think about it. Think about it like this. I met at least 1,000 people in 20 years, whether it's professional or personal, business, whatever, right? And it's less than 100 people that I keep in contact with in some way, shape, or form, whether it's through email, whether it's phone number, social media, etc. You know what I'm saying? So them my numbers. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying you should meet 1,000 people. No, that shouldn't be your goal. You know what I'm saying? The reason why I was able to meet so many people because I used to party a lot. I used to go to the clubs a lot. I was living fast. You know what I'm saying? But you can meet one person a week. You know what I'm saying? And you could more than likely you're gonna meet somebody that you really hit it off with. If you meet one person a week for the next 6 months, that could change everything in your social life. Yeah. And I'm not saying you should hit it off. You got to hit it off with everybody. But no, if you meet one person a week and your social life, it could change. It could change everything. You know what I'm saying? You really could. That's how I was doing it. I was meeting like 1, 2 people a week at one point, and all over the country, all over the world. You know, that's how I was doing it. You know, and and still to this day. You know, I mean, I don't meet one person a week today, but I'm saying this is how you change your social life if you really want to go about it that way. You know what I'm saying? But see, you gotta keep in mind a lot of the barriers and red tape and scheming and scamming wasn't like it is today back then. It was easy for me to meet people back then. I didn't have to think about, is this person a cross dresser? Is they a scammer? You know, I didn't have to worry about none of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And there was no FaceTime back then. There wasn't no camera phones back then. I didn't have to worry about none of that stuff. I had to worry about, is this person a cross dresser, a scammer, a robber, a thief? And I didn't have to worry about none of that stuff. And we didn't have no cameras. So if I saw a picture on somebody's profile 20 years ago, I had to assume, I had to give them the benefit of the doubt that that's them on the picture. Because that's all I had. They couldn't, I mean, they could send me a picture through email. That happened a couple times. I mean, I wasn't even using emails like that. I didn't even have a computer. I didn't have a computer back then. Like 2000, 2001, 2002, I didn't have a computer until 2003. And when I was traveling around the country, I had a flip phone. And then there wasn't no camera phones back then. I had a flip phone, and I would have to trust that. The profile I was looking at and the person I was talking to looked like that. The pictures I saw. I didn't have a choice. It was no other option. You know what I'm saying? That's how it was. I didn't have to. I didn't have to think about a person trying to rob me or set me up. No, I never ran into none of that shit until 10 years ago. When I thought somebody was trying to set me up to get robbed at a hotel. She was trying to get me to all of a sudden come to the hotel. You know, instead of meeting up tomorrow, she was like, let's just meet up today in like 2 hours. I'm like, what? No, let's wait till tomorrow. You know, so that's a red flag. You know, that's how it was. That's how it is today. But hey, that's all I got. Like, share this episode. Don't forget to check out my book, Love at First Click, on Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. 500 pages of the game. Like, subscribe, share this. Until next time, I'm out.
Like and subscribe.